What is cool? Is it some definable thing? Some kind of a status with boundaries and requirements? A Fonzie checklist? Is it effortless? No. Lots of uncool doesn't put in the work. Is it timeless? Warmer. Jean jackets and Bob Dylan and black shades are cool. Dive bars are cool. Going against the establishment is cool. You can't buy it because if anybody owns it, then that kind of gum loses flavor. You don't fake it or pretend it. You have to breathe it. You walk it. You live it. At the end of the day, authentic is cool. Real is cool. Twiggs is an idiosyncratic vibe rock band based out of Oklahoma City. At the time of this interview, the five-piece band had basically all attended the same high school, students at different times, but still. Joe and Abby left the state, him before her, and they came back after Joe lost his mom. They got married, put the band together, started cranking out songs, and didn't waste time asking for permission. They've been playing out here for about 7 years, 4 full albums later. They're a smart crew, funny and self-aware. Easy to talk to and philosophize with. We discussed how they all got together, how the pieces of the puzzle came to fit. The journey's the thing.
Totally different vibe in Nashville. Great place to like learn and to get your chops down and, you know, see like the best part, maybe the best in the industry. Impossible place to like make it like there.
Everybody's a musician.
You throw a fucking quarter over your shoulder, it's gonna land on the foot of someone that can pick your guitar up and play it better than you. So everybody,
it's very intimidating.
Everybody watches the show.
Clicky.
Everybody watches the show like this. They're just kind of judging it, you know, versus like Oklahoma City or a town that's starting to come up to be something everyone's ready for it and very susceptible and, you know.
Yeah, there's a pretty clicky thing going on in Nashville. There's like this underground scene. If you weren't in it, you're not at the party. You know, like it was pretty cutthroat. And getting on a bill with like the people you admired was nearly impossible. It was a good learning process because now we're here and we feel like we've been like trained or something, like Batman.
What? That's great.
You know, like
what do you think is the biggest, coldest, hardest lesson that you learned gigging in Nashville?
Showing up, practicing like all day and all night and whatever, and then showing up to the club and, you know, there's a dozen different shows going on any given night and you got 12 people in the room. That's a humbling thing. Mm-hmm. You know, you're playing fucking rock and roll and, can I use the F?
I think you should, probably.
You're playing rock and roll and like, you know, you're sweating it out and like giving it your all and all that stuff, you know. Any show could be the last one, so, but when you just have like 5 people in the room and that 5 people is the other band that's playing, like, that's a humbling thing and it brings you back down like, okay, we have more work to do kind of thing. What do you guys think? What's a...
I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier with kind of studying film and then you're watching film and you're kind of making all these assumptions about and you have opinions about, you know, how they're doing it and how you should maybe be doing it differently. And I think the way they describe it, it's, I mean, you know, cynical is a good word. Those people watching, you know, they're musicians. They can be like, I can play this better. So they're standing there watching, judging, not just enjoying it.
Yeah, and it's like the enemy of like any band or any like sort of moving forward in the right direction is to like compare yourself to something else or somebody else. You know, somebody starts doing something cool, like, and then you want to flip the script and now we're going to sound this way. can't do that. You gotta keep walking your sound. Like,
Yeah, and at the same time, though, to like flip the coin, the inspiration's also there because you're like looking up to these people that are successful, and you're like, oh, like nice style, or like I like this vibe of music, or whatever. So it was also like us studying really great people and taking that, from it.
I think that's the attitude you need. It's like
Yeah.
watching somebody better than you and appreciating it and being inspired, which is why I love going to music shows and
music shows. You go to a lot of music shows.
Damn it, Joe.
Well,
Yeah, it's like, it's there for inspiration. It's not there to like go judge other people and think about how you're better and how you could do it differently and better. And
You definitely go to way more like music shows than we do, though. And that's I'm teasing, but you do, and it's good, like because you learn tricks every time you watch somebody that inspires you.
yeah, it makes me want to play more.
Well, I think it's important because I think when you're out there, it's easy to get jaded and become bitter. And if you can prevent yourself in the midst of all the cuts and bruises from growing bitter and actually still being able to enjoy it, like if as a filmmaker you can sit down and actually watch a movie and enjoy it, not pick it apart.
Right.
The same thing with musicians. Like can you sit and listen to an album and just enjoy it, or are you too busy like trying to figure out
Yeah, totally.
how they did their magic?
Yeah, that's like the whole thing. Like when I was saying, comparing yourself. Somebody starts succeeding one day. You don't want to envy that or be against that. That's not going to cultivate a scene. That's not going to help anybody.
Right.
We want people to succeed around us. We're rooting for our friends. And that's like one of the coolest things about Oklahoma City and what is happening here is if you made a Venn diagram of these bands, it would be super incestual. Like this person plays in this band and also this band and also this band. And so we're very connected in that sense.
Right.
And so if they succeed, we succeed.
Listening to Twiggs sounds like being on some rooftop party still popping at 4 a.m. Hanging out with them, feels like you're going to get a little buzz, talk about some old books and probably UFOs, and end up wearing a corduroy blazer in the near future. Their music is often hypnotic, occasionally transcendental, frequently sexy if you can dig that. Sometimes windows down jams and sometimes midnight basement weird. We talked about staying hungry without growing bitter, walking those rainy streets chasing your dreams without dying from pneumonia or failure. They've got perspective on the whole thing because they've put some miles on those vintage shoes, and they know what's important.
We got a call early in the morning, and it was my dad, and he choked out a couple words and said, "We lost your mother." It was very unexpected. And we made the decision to move back to Oklahoma City after being in Nashville for 10 years. We thought, oh man, we're going home, and the music, the band, we left behind half the band. But we get back and start fixing family stuff and do that thing, and then eventually we're like, I want to play again. Like, let's get some people in the room, And so we knew some people from high school. We kind of put our minds together, like, who do we know? But I called you out of nowhere. We did not know each other. Like, we did, but we had never hung out. We had never like played together, never talked really. Cold call, straight up.
And I'm just at my house jamming, like playing guitar in my bedroom, like what I do.
When I called you?
Yeah, I was playing
real?
when you called me, and
Oh, that's cool.
but you were like, "Hey, it's Joe White. We went to high school together."
Did you remember?
I'm like, yeah, of course. I mean, one of my best friends growing up also moved out to Nashville and was their drummer.
Okay.
Yeah, we've never talked on the phone before.
Right. Yeah, it was weird.
And he was
first
just like, "Hey, we're back in town. Would you like to like get in the room together, play some music? We're thinking about
Picking
getting
it back
Twiggs
up.
going." It's like, "Yeah, dude, come over anytime, like tomorrow." And they did. Like, I don't know if he called anybody else, but
Yeah.
they show up.
It's only you.
Was he the only call?
That was it. Yeah,
The
that
only
was
one.
it.
You're right.
They show up like the next day, and we just jammed. Yeah, and like literally by the end of the night, like I thought we were just kind of like getting them into the scene or into Oklahoma City. They were just like needed friends or whatever, and like by the end of the night, they're like, "Yeah, so like you're in Twiggs now, right?" And I'm just like, "Oh, okay, sure, yeah."
Sign this contract.
And then it's the rest
Yeah, and
is
then
history.
Ryan came later. Actually, you're the newest Twig.
I am.
We'll talk a little bit about. I mean, like you guys already had a sound established,
Right.
in terms of like what you were playing. Like, let's talk a little bit about your collective musical tastes here, because when I look you guys up, it says vibe rock.
Oh my God, I think my dad.
And my
made
first
that up or
question
something.
was, what the fuck is vibe
That
rock?
is.
Yeah, it's just terrible. That was a.
So what are y'all?
What?
I mean, how would you describe what you do?
It's like the worst.
Have you ever
question.
mainlined heroin?
Not yet, but it's early. I mean, what time is it?
It sounds like no. Actually, literally, somebody said the other night after our show at the Tower, they were like, "Y'all sounds like heroin." And I know that sounds weird, but it's like it's like this slow, steady, like vibey thing. It's not like we're playing anything crazy or super. We're not like ripping it up, but it's just like it's a
Kind of a mood.
it's a mood.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
it's a vibe. It's a mood. It's like we're gonna make you feel like nice or something.
Well, how did you fit into that vibe?
I appreciate what they do, and I like to just kind of add to it rather than change it too much.
Riley's really like into psych rock and like cool bands that we would never hear of unless he told us. And like Joe and I are kind of 3-chord, make the words mean something kind of.
Yeah, for sure.
Writers.
It's all about the theme. It's all
Yeah,
about,
we're like
yeah.
we spend most of our nights fighting over like one word or one chord, and like we'll bring it to the band the next practice or whatever, and you know Riley's got like great taste, so it for our like simplicity and our like kind of
He's the
boring
peanut
stuff.
butter to my jelly.
Yeah, Riley's got a nice edge.
Yeah, I think they're great songwriters, and they compose things really well.
We're
I just like adding to it.
But it's not like we let's not be misrepresenting. It's not like we write all the stuff. Like we write collectively now, which is the best scenario.
But this is new. This is the first time. So in Nashville,
Riley's even started helping with some words. You know, we've been doing words together lately, and I love that.
word stuff.
Because you're super well read. It's good to have another set of eyes on how we're gonna portray the story or whatever the song is.
And I think that's one of the coolest things about this band is everybody's open to new ideas. Nobody's like, we're doing it my way. Nobody's kind of
No one's
really.
selfish.
This isn't the Riley band. This isn't the Abby band. Like Twiggs is a collective, you know, thing that's working together. Like synergy is good.
We were actually talking about this, and then we stopped. The positivity of the scene here versus the cynicism of journeys past.
Yeah, so like that's definitely a thing. So like I feel like whenever a scene such as maybe in Austin or in LA or in Nashville or in New York City, the grooves get so deep and it's been fucking plowed through a million times, it becomes a thing and it knows its identity. You become cynical, you get jaded, you've seen everything, you know everything, there's nothing new in the world, you know? Whereas in a place like Oklahoma City, it doesn't know what it is yet, and so it's still, like if you go to a show, you still want to see the show, you're there to watch the show, you're not there to judge it or there to just go outside and smoke cigarettes, you know, while the band's playing, like you're there for the performance and you want to see what it's all about, so it's like, and also
They're all our friends.
and also everyone's kind of pals. Like it's kind of a small town at the end of the day, and people are naturally rooting for each other.
It's like everybody's super supportive. The scene's been growing just like the city has for the last like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Like exponentially, which is great. It's exciting. Norman Music Festival's been a huge deal.
Yeah.
You guys, the last few years have been really cool. It's exciting to see and like be a part of because everybody does love and support each other.
And you have
show
like
up.
bands like Broncho making fantastic records. Jason Scott's music is just like awesome.
I think having a chip on your shoulder, having difficult experiences in the journey, I think that's great. I think it turns sour whenever it becomes bitterness.
Right.
Totally.
And so if you step into a room full of, say, filmmakers for us or musicians for you guys, and all everybody's doing is talking shit about the people who aren't in the
It's
room,
just terrible.
that's toxic and it goes nowhere. But when you step into a room with people that are excited, then all it does is it feeds. Everybody gets fed from that. Everybody emerges
Good
from that
feeds
stronger.
good,
Yeah,
always.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, like karma's real. Like if you get what you put out, like it comes back around. So it's like you wanna not say mean things about people. Like if you see a bad show, okay, they're still trying. Maybe they'll figure it out. You know?
It's like there's no other option than to just be like completely positive all the time, in my opinion, and like
It's a good way to try.
forthcoming and just good to people.
It's crazy what this world makes some people do. Staying up all night, call me the Raccoon King. You told me I don't know you when you saw my face, but you're no stranger to the danger. You.
You know that day she died, I did a little too.
Twiggs has a sound like the opening song off of some killer indie flick soundtrack. Or maybe like something your parents would have been grooving on vinyl back in the 80s, muffled through the walls while they smoked in the living room and had you go to bed early. Mood music. Vibe music. They laugh when they share somebody's description of their sound as some kind of audio heroin. By the time we got to the speakeasy on 51st, giving a courtesy hello to Edna's and the conversation is loose, and the laughs are easy. We talk about their processes and their passion, movies and influences, their respective tastes and their collective goals. They're talented and smart, creative, and evolving.
So everyone has a schedule, right? And everyone has a side gig. So like getting together and just getting into the practice room before a show is a feat in and of itself, just to get everyone in the room. And sometimes someone's having a bad day. Like it's not always a perfect vibe. Like it is a difficult thing to get everyone together and to hold it down and to maintain a working relationship, especially when you're trying to create and you know, like carrying amps and shit. That's not a fun thing. I mean, most of the job is carrying your amp to and from the show. You get to play for 45 minutes and then, you know, it's
There's many days where I don't want to meet up to practice, but you force yourself because that's where you have to put the work in. And once you get there, you're happy that you did it because you're getting to play music. I mean, this is what we're loving to do. So
It's a club.
I mean, even practicing is getting to play. So
right. Also, a good
Billboard.
misconception is like that things just happen, you know. Oh, like if you have a little success, people think that like that it fell into your lap. But no, there was 10 things that fell through that didn't come to fruition before this one thing that did. So it's like, you know what I'm saying?
People in Oklahoma.
How many like cool things were like, oh my God, this is gonna be the thing, and then it just falls through.
It's crazy how much work goes into luck.
Yeah, 1 out of 20 come through. I mean, is it luck or is it just persistence?
Right.
You know?
Like, yeah, we've been playing since we've been kids, so it's not like,
Yeah.
you know, oh, I wrote a song yesterday and now it's popular. Like,
Right.
that's not how it works. It's
Right.
not how film works.
If I had put the time and effort that I put into writing or filmmaking, if I put that into like working on cars, suddenly that's respectable. Oh,
Exactly.
well, that makes money. That's serious. That's a job.
Right.
Whereas filmmaking, like, oh, well, let me know when you grew up.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Well, nobody knows like what, like the work until like they see the show or they see the production, whatever the movie is, say you've created. Until someone sees the product, like there is no like satisfaction coming at you like from like an understanding point. So all of the fucking recording and the practicing and stuff. But then you get a little bit of FaceTime with like a show or maybe releasing an album or a single where people actually look at your work and get to criticize it or love it or whatever. So there's very little moments where you actually get to show what you've been working at.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of under the radar kind of shit.
I think to go for what you're saying, it's like one of the bigger lies of the American dream is like, oh, you aren't doing something for money to like start a family, to do all these things where it's like, oh, no, we want to do something creative and passionate and something you care about that's like from
Human
the soul.
experience.
And yeah, a lot of people just don't
But
recognize
but it's a
that as
sacrifice to make because
need
if
to
we
do.
weren't spending all this time together doing this kind of thing, we could probably be making money elsewhere. Like, it's not like, you know,
it's definitely a choice.
you know, it's
Right.
it's a time. You're spending time.
And we're also lucky that our families are like super supportive, and that's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Like, they are
Well,
really.
that's why a lot of people don't do it, because
Yeah, they have the pressure
They get
of-
told to
yeah, they're like,
get a job. and-
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because one time I was talking with Allie Harder. We were sitting around, we were drinking beers in Stillwater, and we were arguing about which was tougher, being an independent filmmaker or being a musician. And it was tongue in cheek. We were having some fun, and I was complaining that being a filmmaker is more difficult. She was saying that being a musician is harder. One of the things I couldn't compare to was how difficult it is to play a gig in front of nobody, in front of a small crowd. Tell me how you get up and keep going after you've played a tough gig like that.
I literally told you this the other day. I was like, I feel like sometimes I don't want to write for anyone. Like, sometimes it's just like, I'm just doing this because it's what feels right.
Exactly.
It's like an art form. It's like, it's just
Right.
like, I'm just
the best part
representing
about it.
myself.
That's one. That's
And
a good answer.
You can either
Another
like it or you-
Another answer is you never know. Even if it's 1, 2, 3 people in the room, you never know who's in the room.
Right.
Like we got sort of discovered at a house party upstairs, you know, on a Halloween, you know, just a bunch of kids and like some punch and stuff, and so you never know who's in the room. So, and it's a sort of like a gift to be able to play a show. It could be your last. Like we're lucky that we have each other to play with. So it's like we don't really care. It's like we're having fun.
it's like
Exactly.
self-expression.
I do it.
It's
Yeah, I
like
do it
we're
for
writing,
me. I don't do it.
I
for
dig
the
that,
people.
man.
Yeah. But also it's like the camaraderie
We're
we have
having a
together.
conversation together, and it's like sometimes the conversation's better than it was last time, and just musically, like the song like pops off even better. So it's like we're sort of having our own little secret meeting
Those moments.
Yeah, and they're watching.
in front of people, and it's fun to, it's crazy cool.
Don't fall.
We're all really good hosts, like, you know, whether it's a dinner party or just, you know, having
Yeah.
people over. So like, in my opinion, like the point of view is like, we want you, if you're at the show, I want it to feel like you're in our house and this is the vibe, this is our vibe, and we want you to catch some of this vibe and just we can feel it together. You know, so it's like, it's very inclusive. We love everybody. Like we're not exclusive to any sort of thing. So it's like, if you're watching us, you should feel like we're friends, and like,
Totally.
and our music should be hitting you in a place that like feels like familiar and like comfortable.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make songs that we love playing, but also that like
Someone could relate
are
to.
using the words that like are gonna tug on your little heartstrings a little bit. You know?
And we build our sets like that thoughtfully,
Yeah,
so that it's not just a one-note thing. You know, people get
We plan
ups and
sets out
downs
for
and-
specific rooms. If we're in a small room, it's a dive bar, that's a different set than if we're in a hall. Like, we try and like cater it to the audience, and it should be like cultivated so.
Let me follow that up with this, because I loved your idea of inclusivity. In a world that feels very, very separated,
Yeah.
and very, very tribal, and there's just walls and distance.
Right.
Where does music play into that for you guys?
I mean, it breaks down walls. That's
Yeah.
the whole point of music. I mean,
Everyone speaks the same language when it comes to music, so, you know, like, food and music are two of the great equalizers. You can get along with someone that you would never get along with if you're just listening to the right song together. So it definitely kills that divide that we are all experiencing right now, because we're so polarized, and we live in our own realities, you know, because we're fed whatever information we want.
Joe has the best like idea. He said once that like if aliens were to like look down on us right now, like would they be like
As
looking at
they
stockbrokers?
have many times, Kenny.
Like would they be looking at stockbrokers, or like would they be looking at?
What would they remember about our culture?
They would be
about
like music
human
is
culture?
tight. Like humans are making music.
Yeah.
Like it's something
Music
that like
is like maybe a gift we have for the universe. Like maybe
Right,
we're the.
absolutely.
Yeah,
What if
maybe
we're the
it's just,
only
like,
ones that have like
figured
like,
it out.
done music? Or like, what if Led Zeppelin is like the only, you know, listen to that out in fucking Alpha 5, out in Sector 10, you know, like.
Yeah, they're banging some Zeppelin for sure, no doubt.
No, he said that though.
Like I love music. Two, I don't know where this has gone, but
Thanks for
I love
stopping it.
We're making music and it's pretty and it's universal and it works. It heals people.
It's
and
one of the most beautiful human creations. Is like
Yeah.
harmonizing like with music and like
Yeah.
making sounds that are easy on the ears. Like that's such a nice adventure.
Dream, dream, baby.
So yeah, authentic is cool. It doesn't mean staying the same. It never did. Sometimes, maybe most times even, it requires the opposite. We change, we grow, we crack and fall apart, and we rebuild. We leave home to come back again. And I get the feeling that Twiggs, Joe, Abby, Ryan, Riley, and Garrison are in flux, growing, twisting, changing, ever evolving. Like a good party, like a great band, whatever they have coming next, I'm betting on two things. You'll want to hear it, and it'll be cool.
Don't you feel lonely? Don't you feel lonely? Don't you feel lonely? Don't you feel lonely? All the